Now, a connected piece of work, then, an article that I found. We were just talking whilst Lou Reed was playing there about, carrying on a conversation about how does the guy get the job, and I'd spotted something in the Sunday Times this week, I suppose you'd call it. It's about IBM and some software they're developing, which purports to be able to pick out characteristics of your personality from the way you tweet. Exactly. It says here that software being developed by IBM claims to be able to predict personality and behavior patterns by analysing the postings that you put on Twitter.
Sounds dangerous.
Well, yes, doesn't it? Because we
dangerous
talked before.
For whom?
Wow.
It's just that people don't think before they tweet, I don't believe.
This isn't actually, this is more to do with the words you choose than the message you're trying to get across. It is literally the way you say it. Now, for example, these are the guys that they're doing the research as we speak in San Jose, California, but they reckon already they've discovered that people who care for the welfare of others, they use words like we, us, friends, family, health, and home. And those that don't have those qualities, I like this, are more likely to use words like work, school, music, and beer.
Okay, now I've done a number of psychometric tests over the years, and there's a lot of questions that you get asked that include things like that. Are you more like this or more like that? And I always think, what a load of complete tosh, and then I read the analysis of me and it's spot on. So I going to accept it's not a load of tosh, but it's interesting how those words come up. And I'm now thinking about I'm going to have to go back through my Twitter feed and have a look at what kind of words I've been using. I'm wondering what that says about me.
Well, what they're doing, you see, they're not really interviewing people in as much as what they're doing is they are taking the things that people are saying on tweet, deconstructing the language, and then correlating that with, remember I talked about the big five.
Yeah.
It's a series of psychological constructs that seem to override and be more important than most instruments. That if you really want to know what's going to happen with someone, you can predict many, many things from knowing their extroversion, agreeableness, conscientiousness, and the five constructs. And they're correlating it with the language. And so they are saying that people who settle for just good enough kind of things, so you're not a perfectionist, you would settle for, well, that'll do at work. You'll find that their tweets, no matter what they're about, will use words like mix, half, and fix. Just a correlation. Don't ask me why. You're looking at me as though you're telling important. It's here. It's in black and white.
Well, it's in black and white because they'd really like to sell the software, so if we're all convinced, we'll go out and buy it.
There you go.
Could they be salespeople by any chance?
They're developing and then they want to commercialise it, but as Becky said, well, that would be worrying. Oh, I must just say, have a look at your tweets. How many of you like to abbreviate?
Oh, yes.
Right.
I don't like to, but I have to, absolutely. I'll do a tweet and it'll tell me I've got 47 characters too many. Okay, so would becomes WLD, and, it's text.
It's a challenge to get it into 140 characters.
Yeah, and if you do 2 consecutive tweets to finish off what you're saying, it just shows how rubbish you are.
Well, you see, they gave example.
Or have you done that? I'm sorry.
Maybe.
The example they gave in the paper here was different personalities tweeting the same bad news, and they invite you to guess which. And we won't bother going into all of them, but there's some bad news, and there's somebody here who says, "Nightmare for you." The letter U, all today. 2 is a 2. 'Cause 25 of you must go. Blah blah blah. People who tend to use more shorthand abbreviations are demonstrating a lack of openness. Their character is one of lack of openness.
Okay, I'm going to fundamentally disagree with that, I'm afraid. and that's not empirical research, that's opinion, surely.
Well, it's research. It simply correlates with it. Well, there we are.
I don't know how you can
Would you have
research
agreed
it
if it said it correlated with conscientious?
How would you know if someone's open or not?
That's they're trying to fit it into a tweet. If they sent an email and did all of that, then I could borderline accept it. But on a tweet, the whole point of it is squishing
you've got to squidge
If they
it
sent
up.
that tweet and it was 6 60 characters and they could have expanded it all out to be 140, okay, fair enough. And I do that sometimes. I'll abbreviate a bunch of stuff and see I've got 30 characters to spare. Okay, well, is there such a word as unabbreviate? I'll reverse the abbreviation to try and do it. But the other thing as well, I think you said something before, Becky, about people don't think before they tweet, and there are two types of tweets I think that we need to differentiate between. One is personal social type tweets. I know lots of people who have Twitter feed and it's just their personal feed, that's it, and there's a business Twitter feed. On the personal feed, fine, go for it, but bear in mind plenty of people have found out from their personal Twitter feeds that it comes back and bites them on the posterior afterwards. But from a business Twitter feed, please think about it before you tweet.
Yeah.
Before we go to my piece of music,
no, you don't get one today. No, go on then.
Before we do that, all I can say is blind text. Count up the people who use more abbreviations and then correlate it with something else, and it correlates with, lo and behold, they're the people that seem to be less open, even though we don't know who they are. It's blind. They're not really against you personally, Mark.
Okay.
It's just...
That's all right. Then.
What do they call it? Empirical.
Empirical. Go for it.
And I've chosen, Heather, it's a bit